Today we'll be talking about old people. Because Korea is dying, people. Like, they're all dying and aging like Sleepy Joe. OECD says that Korea's population is going to have in the next 60 years, and honestly, Thanos couldn't even do it with his little finger snap, but we're doing it to ourselves without the finger snap. So this is a very big issue.
The problem is, there's really no one to replace these old people because no one's having any babies. There's like this weird state-sponsored dating event because people don't want to date anymore, apparently. Yeah, guys, I think the pink shirt is the problem because no one really can fit that well in a pink t-shirt except for BTS. Actually, we interviewed with someone who participated in such a state-sponsored dating event. This is Audrey Hong. Hello, welcome to the Daily Show. Audrey.
Hi, Erica.
Hello.
I am Audrey.
So, Audrey, as a Korean woman in your 20s, what do you think about the current low birth rate and like the government's efforts to fix it?
I definitely think we have a huge problem, but I don't think the government is doing a good enough job of addressing it. They're acting as if it's the woman's fault for not giving birth, with some of the radical conservatives saying that women are abandoning their roles and blaming feminism and the 4B movement for this.
Oh, can you share your experience with that little state-sponsored dating event? Yeah.
Sure, it was basically horrible. I was matched with this random bearded guy called Ryan Lee, and man, he was a walking red flag.
Yeah, that was horrible. Clearly, the government does not know what they're doing here. And it's not really only a problem of Koreans being unattractive or being like Ryan, to say the least. It's a deep social and cultural issue. Don't you agree? Like, so putting aside my jokes, let's actually bring a few experts in here with like the cool degrees to talk about how Korea's aging population impacts people and how we can actually solve this. Okay, so let's meet the important people who will actually give a more professional opinion than I can. So first, give a round of applause to history expert EJ Hong. She's from Brown University. Welcome. Then Celine Oh, she's also a very famous social activist. Welcome, Celine.
Thank you.
And finally, Bill. Just plain old Bill from 1284 Willow Creek Drive, Richmond, Virginia, 23225, United States.
Do I sit here? Oh, okay. Hello, guys. Hello.
Okay, guys, just kidding. Bill is also an important member working as an economics professor at the University of Virginia. Bill, no hard feelings. This is how we greet you. Let's begin. So guys, we'll skip the fancy introductions because Koreans love bali, and let's go straight into the important questions. So what policy measures can South Korea implement to mitigate the economic and social impacts of its aging population and declining birth rate? So Bill, why don't you start us off? What's really happening in South Korea right now?
First of all, thank you for the very warm greeting. It was very wholesome. So to talk about the current situation, the Korean population is shrinking. I think you mentioned it in your intro, with the birth rate being 0.75 per person. That is extremely low, in fact the lowest in the entire world. And according to Craig from 1994, it says that at least 2.1 births per woman is needed for a country to sustain itself. And even North Korea has a higher birth rate than South Korea, and they don't even have enough rice. So that's pretty surprising, I'd say. And this really demonstrates the severity of the demographic issues within South Korea. Moreover, the elder dependency ratio is projected to increase by 56.1% from 2000 to 2050, meaning that there's just going to be a larger elderly population. And this is from a study by Hong and Lee from the Catholic University of Korea.
Right, and as the elderly ratio is increasing and the birth rate is decreasing, there's no factor to activate the economy, leading to labor shortages and a threat to economic sustainability. According to a study by the Federation of Korean Industries, 45.8% of Koreans said their biggest concern is labor supply, followed by a drop of 17.5% in the production rate due to aging workers.
Thank you, Bill and Min, for that detailed analysis. Okay, so. Yeah. Are you still not asleep? Okay. Guys, sorry. That's Dex. He's my husband. I need to like sing him a lullaby because he can't sleep right now. I'll hand this show over to Billy O.
Hello everyone, my name is Billy O. No relation to Bill Cho anyway.
In the United States Senate. Nice to meet you.
Why are the United States and Korean이겠지?
Guys, can you please Hello everyone, my name is Billy O.
What the heck?
안녕하십니까.
Hello everyone, my name is Billy Troilish.
Hello, I am from the People's Party's party.
Okay.
진짜 너무
Hello everyone, my name is Billy Troilish.
Erica Lee.
My name is Eric Lee. Hello everyone, my name is Billy Troilish. No relationship to Bill Cho, by the way. And I know Erica was a little bit of a mess, so let's class things up. First, let me introduce you our new guest here, politician Eric Lee.
안녕하십니까. I'm Eric Lee from People's Powers Party. Nice to meet you, everyone.
Nice to meet you. Okay. So that was very interesting. I'd like to ask EJ, can you tell us the sad truth about Korea again?
Absolutely, Billy. So as Min says, Korea is going through a severe labor shortages and economic collapse. But another thing to note here is how South Korea is pretty much the odd one out among the high-income countries when it comes to immigrants. According to the UN Population Division in 2019, immigrants only consisted of around 2.3% of South Korea's population. Compare that to other developed countries where immigrants make up around 14% of the population. Now, why does this matter? Well, immigration is the secret sauce for reviving a country's economy. Many developed nations rely on immigrants to fill jobs in sectors with serious labor shortages, like accommodation and food services. In some places, immigrants make up more than half of the workers in these industries. So yeah, South Korea might need to roll out a welcome mat, or at least an immigrants wanted sign.
Okay, so what's South Korea supposed to do when the birth rate's lower than Ryan's GPA in high school, or half the country is about to reach its retirement age?
Guys, okay, so I'm just gonna say it. Right now, the most optimal and realistic solution is increasing immigration. South Korea really tried many different.
Can you calm down? Like, you're very angry right now. Can you calm down?
I
and
agree,
speak to
yeah.
people?
People's Power Party.
Okay, Mr. Eric Lee from People's Power Party, what were you trying to say?
Yeah, so South Korea really tried.
This time, can you not laugh? Apologize again to the public.
Thank you.
People's Power Party. Yeah, guys, sorry. So South Korea really tried many different policies and reforms. They've tried giving people cash to have babies, like free childcare, even dating subsidies, honestly. But despite spending $270 billion in the past 16 years on these types of policies, there really hasn't been any significant change in Korea's fertility rate. And this is also a study found by Lee and the others. So turns out, it really is the fact that you can't bribe people into love, and it's impossible. The numbers are still tanking.
So all of the pro-natalist policies that you guys call are pretty much meaningless?
Yeah, exactly. So Chu and Jails from Seoul National and Syracuse University found that 74% of South Korea's baby-making budget went to inframarginal births, which is academic speak for these babies were showing up with or without their money. Yeah, so basically, the government's been handing out baby bonuses like Oprah. You get a check, you get a check. Oh wait, yeah, you were gonna do this anyway. And to actually raise the birth rate, they need to multiply the budget by 15 times. And at that point, Forget incentives. Just set up a national baby factory next to every subway station, swipe your ID, get a diaper bag, and boom, economic recovery in aisle 3, guys.
So, what makes immigration the holy grail?
So let's just look at other countries, for example, like Canada. They basically handed out welcome mats that said, please move in and fix our labor shortages. Spain, growing like crazy thanks to migrant workers. Even Australia's economy is being carried on the back of skilled immigrants and flip-flops. Like, we need fresh workers, new families, more diversity, and let's be honest, someone has to take care of your grandma while you're at work.
My grandma passed away, but immigration isn't just a backup plan. It's the plan.
Yes, exactly. It's either welcome new neighbors or say goodbye to Korea.
Okay, now for the boring part. Let's ask EJ for some historical insight here. EJ, does this remind you of any sort of historic events that happened in South Korea right now?
Yeah, definitely. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Hun Seong-deong's isolationist policy.
Boring.
Excuse me?
Oh, nothing. I think that's fair.
I heard something.
People's Powers Party.
Thank you.
Continue, yeah.
Well, if you look back at Daewongun's reforms in late Joseon Dynasty, we see a similar pattern to Korea right now. Back in the late 1860s to 1870s, Hun Seong-deongun tried to change Korea. He didn't like the changes happening in Korea and enacted a foreign policy of closing doors and refusing trade with Western countries called 쇄국 정책.
Huh, that sounds pretty similar to the general Korean sentiment on immigrant trade now.
It really does. Koreans don't like immigrants because they don't want them to change the traditional culture and all that, so they try to shut down their doors. But if this situation is really similar to what happened in the past, it's not going to go end well.
How?
Because 쇄국 정책 also didn't end well. According to Lee Moon-soo's 22 study, Hun Seong-deong's reforms were ultimately limited because he refused to adapt to global changes and held on to the nostalgic idea of Korea's past glory.
And if history repeats itself,
Then Korea's just gonna end up like Daewongun did. And if we keep resisting change and ignoring immigrants, if we keep pretending like global trends and like international migration and labor movement doesn't matter, we're setting up ourselves to fall behind. Holding on to the idea of an old Korea that's purely traditional might feel safe, but really, it's blocking the growth we need to survive.
that's a very powerful point, EJ. And before moving on, let's hear from the people on the ground, the baby and the old Koreans. We are joined by the rarest species in South Korea, a young baby. Welcome, baby man. So hello, baby man. Well, let's get straight to the point. How does it feel like to be a part of a dangerously shrinking population?
Gugu gaga! Gugu!
And what do you think about Korea's response to the low birth rate?
Gugu gaga!
I guess that's fair enough. So, do you have any suggestions?
Gugu gaga. Gugu gaga. Gugu gaga.
I see, baby man. Thank you very much. Strong words from a person with a pacifier. We also got to interview someone a lot older, but thank you, baby man. See you next time. So, we'll be meeting Grandma Seung-doo Boo from Tongyeong, South Korea. Welcome, Grandma Boo.
Welcome. Oh, hi.
So, Grandma Boo, the Korean economy, as you can see, is currently shrinking. The birth rate is at its all-time low. Aren't you worried by any chance?
Worried? Honey, I just booked a cruise with a pension chick. Ask me again when I run out of my sunscreen.
But aren't there not enough young workers to support the entire system?
Sounds like a them problem. I did my time. Now I do yoga at 10, not at 2.
That sounds very irresponsible. What do you suggest that we do?
Oh, I don't know. Y'all handle it. I did my time, not running the economy. You should know that allowing the economy to be run by grandmas isn't going to work, honey. It's
Fair
not.
enough, Grandma Boo. See you next time. Hopefully not. Thank you. Get back to the expert opinions. Migration isn't just about economics or demographics. It's about real human lives and the chance to build a more just and inclusive society. And that brings us to the question of what kind of country Korea wants to be. Min, as a person who advocated for the human rights for 20 something years now, what do you see as the bigger picture when it comes to migrant labor in South Korea?
First, you said advocated. No, I still advocate for human rights. I really care about it, so please be careful.
Sorry for
Yeah.
my grammatical error.
Yeah, I know that. Anyways, I, as a human rights activist, believe that every person has the right to dignity. However, many workers who work in their home countries, especially like those Chinese people, face potential violations of labor rights, long working hours, and concerns about safety and health. A study published in the Personal Review, written by Han et al., examines how the socioeconomic status of rural-urban migrant workers in China influences their access to decent work. The authors discuss the 996 working hour system, requiring employees to work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. Moreover, Ubina found that there are severe human rights abuses within China's distant water fishing industry. The article specifically talks about an Indonesian deckhand who died due to neglect and harsh working conditions.
Wait, Min, but based on your examples, it seems like China's the only
Yeah,
problem.
China is a bad problem.
Can you apologize again? That wasn't appropriate.
People's Power Party.
I'm definitely not voting for 국민의힘 after this.
So, is China the problem here?
I mean, China is certainly a problem, but although China is certainly a problem, other countries also tolerate the violation of worker rights. An article from the Financial Times also highlights safety lapses and poor working conditions at the Indonesia Morowali Industrial Park, which is the world's largest nickel processing site. The report notes numerous fatalities and injuries which violate labor rights and safety standards.
I see, but is the Korean working conditions getting better?
Well, it is certainly better than those countries. South Korea offers much better working conditions for foreign workers. The employment permit system, also known as the EPS, introduced in 2004, allows foreigners to work legally in Korea with equal labor rights. South Korea's EPS ensures that workers have regulated contracts, minimum wage protection, and access to legal resources.
Anything else?
While foreign workers also have access to national health insurance, which is absent in many other countries. Migrant workers are also enrolled in industrial accident compensation insurance, which pays workers in case of workplace injuries. Therefore, South Korea should open the doors to more immigrant workers, so that more people can enjoy their fundamental rights as human beings.
Oh my god, sorry. Who? What? Get out, get the Guys, Erica's back on the show. Daily Show's back on normal track. Okay, let's bring the show back on track with another interview. Let's meet Raj from India. He's an immigrant worker in South Korea. So welcome Raj to the Daily Show.
Oh, hello. My name is Raj from India.
Hello, Raj. So you've been living in Korea for like 5 years now? How's it been?
Yes. 5 years, 3 jobs, 2 apartment moves, and 1 incident with spicy tteokbokki that I don't really like to talk about.
Oh, well, Korea is facing a serious demographic issue, including aging population and low birth rate. What do you think about these issues?
Honestly, Korea needs help. The population chart looks like a sad triangle. We need people like me to work, to pay taxes, and make sure the light stays on.
That makes sense. Well, there is still kind of that public resistance to immigrants, aren't there? Like, why do you think this is?
Yes. Everybody likes a foreigner until he lives next door. Suddenly they're like, he's too loud, he smells like curry, he's ruining our culture. Man, your 16-year-old listens to K-pop and eats Chipotle. I'm not ruining anything.
Well, have you faced any sort of discrimination?
Of course. Some people here think that I'm here to steal jobs. I say, what job? I'm working night shifts and no Korean teenager even applied to. I once got rejected from a rental place because they say foreigners have cooked strange food. I said, I also cook ramen, okay? I'm multicultural.
Well, what would you tell Koreans who are afraid of change?
I get it. Change is scary. But empty schools, shrinking populations, and no one does to take care of the elderly, that's even scarier, I'd say. Let the immigrants help. We don't want to embrace your identity. We just want to join the group chat.
Last and final question. What's your dream for Korea?
That one day, people see me on the subway and think, there goes Raj. Good worker, nice guy, probably paid taxes. Not, oh no, why is he taking over?
Well, thank you very much for that, Raj. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, that was it for today's discussion of the Daily Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we talked about labor shortage and how the economy of South Korea is pretty much collapsing due to low birth rates and an aging population. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Goodbye!